show y'all like the graphics while we're doing this. Now, I was told there was actually some graphics that I have available, which is pretty exciting. But I want to show you guys kind of their charts according to PFF, just to give you a little bit of background information. I guess I don't know, just something to look at that we're not just staring at me while I'm also showcasing on the screen the mock draft results. So, okay, of course, just like last time, this is going to spoil immediately. All right, so you're going to see everything all at once. If you haven't already, you're already going to see it. You're going to see all the draft, and we're going to walk our way through it. Like I said, just bear with me as I'm kind of gathering the notes so that I can make all this make sense as we're going through this, because I'm old school, man. I write notes on paper. I shouldn't do it, but I do. So until I put these things in my binder, it is going to be a little bit messy, but that's fine. Let's go right to it. Let's start this thing off. Let me show it on the screen. This is our Lions mock. I feel like this is 2.0 that we've done over here. This is the second mock that we've done over here. This counts as 2.0 now. So let me throw that on the screen just like that. Bam. And we're going to talk through it. Let me move this. All right. We're going to talk through this mock draft. Now, we started this thing off going a direction that we typically don't go. All right. This is not normally how I do things. And it's definitely not you would call it a need. Like, I definitely don't think you'd classify this as a need for the Lions this offseason, but that's where we're going to start off. And it's a trade back because I always like to move, as I stated. And PFF right now is kind of on this thing where, like, okay, there's been, are we good? Are we good? No, we're not good. We're kind of good. All right, now it's good. But PFF has had this thing where there's like this section of players that have been drafted kind of in the same spot over and over. So it's giving me like the same results over and over, which is, it's cool because I know what to anticipate, but it's also like, dang, I'm getting the same players every time. And I don't believe some of this like at all. Like for example, Colston Loveland is always available at my spot. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. I'd be pretty shocked if Colston Loveland was just sitting there at 28. Like I don't really see a scenario where that actually happens. And I honestly feel like if I was sitting there and Colston Loveland was sitting there, I'd be hard pressed not to just be like, you know what? Maybe I'll just give him and I'll just draft him anyway because he's sitting there. But because of that reason, it just makes sense for me to drop out. So I ended up dropping out. We go to the second round at pick 34. Now, this trade actually does make sense. I got to be honest. Sometimes, you wonder why a team's moving up. You see who they take. It's like, all right, I don't know if they would have done that. But this move does make sense. Them moving up from 34 to 28, the Giants, they didn't select the quarterback with their first pick. So if they wanted to get that fifth-year option, jump back into the round, this would actually make some sense. So, doing this all together makes some sense. So they move up. And they give me pick 105. And that's essentially just going straight to the value chart, what it would cost to move up. That's high is this trade. So it gives me a little extra pick to play around with in the fourth round, top of the fourth round, which we don't have a fourth round pick, which is great because our third round pick is also a comp pick. So it's at the very end of the third round. So getting a little bit of something to work around with here is what I was after. So that's what I got, moved back. Now, here's where I was kind of at. This got to put you in my headspace, what I was considering. So I think this happened before I moved back because I was going to stick and pick. I was honestly going to go Nick Emanwari. I was going to shake it up a little bit. I was going to go with the safety out of South Carolina. But I decided not to do that because, well, one, he wasn't available. So I would have had to trade up to go make that happen. And, he wasn't available. So I didn't trade up. So I sat where I was, looked at the board. I was like, all right, this doesn't feel that super realistic, but it's fine. We're going to move out of this spot. And we go to 34 and I take Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. Now he probably helped himself some of the most, like as much as you can help yourself actually at a combine. Maxwell Hairston probably falls into that mix just because of purely the 40 time that he ran the 4.28 40. He's coming off the injury, missed a lot of time. So for him, putting that 40 time up was everything, like putting the number that he did. And then he tested out standing outside of that as well. Nearly posted a 40-inch vertical at 5'11", 185, kind of roughly in that range. He's a little bit on the slimmer side, so you could probably lean towards 180. When I watched Maxwell Hairston, though, for this cornerback group, like at the top, and I'm always trying to keep my mind open, so that's why we do these. I'm not trying to do mock drafts so that I can give you the same player every time. We're like, hey, I knew that was coming. That's not fun, all right? I try to think around, like, okay, what could be a different option? And when I look at the top cornerbacks in this draft, for me, Maxwell Hairston gives me like some vibes. Like, this would be a lot of fun as a Lion. Like, this would be a lot of fun. Now, Jahdae Barron's kind of the same way, but I don't think he's going to get there. I think he's going to go really high. Maxwell Hairston, though, is someone that I think would be so fun to put in this Lions defense. The fact that he's coming off a season where he had missed some time, and you have to go back and look at 2023 where he had like the 5 interceptions in one season, to me just makes it even more interesting. Athletically, we know that there's no real questions there. I actually think he could potentially step into the slot role. Now, he's a low hitter. I think he actually tackles pretty well. If he was a little bit better at taking on blocks, I think he'd be more natural. You could just be like, put him in the slot. That would work. So there could be some bounce back. It doesn't mean that he has to play in the slot because of his build. I'm not saying that. I actually think it could hurt him because he's not as bulky there. But I think he does have flexibility, though you could just leave him wide. But I kind of like the idea early. Like if I had this as my draft pick and it was my top second round pick in this case, the idea of letting him step in, letting him compete at that position with Amik Robertson on the final year of his contract. I know that he can continue to just play out wide for us. I think that would be pretty fun with Rakestraw. It's definitely an overload of young talent in that group, especially now with DJ Reed under the 3-year contract. But this would also then kind of just, I think, make the losing of Amik Robertson after this season, which would probably be the case now that you've made this draft pick, much more easy, because it'd be like, all right, we're moving on from Amik Robertson. He's kind of the next guy in. And look, Maxwell Harrison is just a fun watch. Like we can talk about scheme fit and that kind of thing. Is he man? Is he zone? I think he's good in all schemes, to be honest. I think he's much more comfortable in zone coverage. So if I put him in half turn, if I put him in cover 3 like we played at times last season, if I put him in those spots, he's going to be more comfy than I think, let's use Benjamin Morrison. Because he's a guy, if you were going to go early corner, he's touted, hey, he's a man corner. That's what he did at in college. So it makes sense at Notre Dame that, okay, you go the man corner route, a lot of press man corner. But when I put him in some of these zone assignments, I don't feel like it's as fluid. I don't think he stays on top of routes as well as Maxwell Harrison does. I think he does a great job of that. I think he anticipates breaks a lot better, which allows him to jump on routes, allows him to close some cushion. It also allows him to get the interceptions he does. You put him in cover 2, you let him play underneath, he's going to bounce around from target to target. It's going to look fluid. He's very light on his toes. He redirects well. Like the play speed shows up, not just in terms of like, oh, he's going to turn and run fast, but it's the movement skills. It's the short area burst that he puts on display. Those things translate to the field. Now, the length at the catch point could be a little bit of an issue, which again, if you could step into a slot role, you may be able to minimize some of that issue as well. We've seen some issues there. I just like how at the catch point, when he squeezes routes, he doesn't become grabby, right? He'll squeeze routes without becoming grabby. He's still patient in those spots just to kind of take away airspace, close airspace specifically. He times up routes really well from off-man coverage to jump routes. And here was the one play. This is like the most random thing, but this to me kind of sold me. Well, it got me to making this draft pick, okay? Because again, we're changing things up. I watched him against Tennessee in 2023. So I'm watching his, I got to watch his 2023 stuff because he's, was awesome in 2023. So I'm watching him against Tennessee, and he's lined up out wide, and he's in a press alignment. And look, to me, I think, his movement skills adds press variety. Like when I think about a guy like Benjamin Morrison, for example, it's like, I don't know if I want him jamming guys because he gets kind of uncomfortable there. But if I could have him in kind of like a catch technique, that may be a little more natural for him. When I watched Harrison, though, he was up in a press technique, which would look like he was going to try to jam his guy off the line of scrimmage. And he ends up running a screen. So his release is to set up a quick screen back to the ball. And the way that he jumped the screen, he read the footwork and stepped on top of it and jumped it. Now, the ball wasn't thrown, but that was the kind of thing that just like immediately I'm thinking of Amik Robertson. That's the kind of thing that he would do in that spot. He'd jump it. He'd step on top of that release type. So immediately I'm intrigued. I'm like, this is awesome. Okay, that's something that the Lions cornerbacks do right now, is that kind of play style. And so to me, there's flexibility with what I want to do coverage-wise. He's also, I didn't even know this. I didn't know this going in, but he's from Michigan, West Bloomfield, Michigan. I had no idea about that. So flexibility-wise, play inside, outside, in my opinion. I wish he was a little bit more built up, bulky, obviously. And if he was, he'd probably be a higher draft pick, but he's not. So we'll have to work with that. But the Lions have made it work with slimmer cornerbacks before. It's not completely new to them. So ultimately, Maxwell Harrison gets it started. It's a deep cornerback room. it's a lot. So you have to be flexible. He's going to have to be flexible if he's going to want to find a field early. That just is where it is. I mean, if this is where we're going, you're going to have to show some flexibility to get on the field. All right, that moves us on to the second round. Now, again, I did trade for the second round pick. I ended up moving up into the second round. Again, I don't think that this player is going to go this low, I guess you should say. Like 56 still feels super late for me. I think he's got a path of potentially getting to round 1. That could simply rely on our teams looking at him as a tackle or a guard. Not to say that he can't play tackle. I don't really have any reason to believe that he can't play tackle, but that could be what ends up making the decision here with how high teams are going to look at Donovan Jackson in this year's draft. Ultimately, for me, though, it's easy. Like I looked at a lot of offensive linemen for this spot, and I honestly, you know what? I'm going to say this as a side note. The Lions sitting at 28 could definitely be a spot for offensive linemen, but it may not be the offensive lineman you expect. I'm just going to say that. Now, I don't know who that's going to be, but I think a lot of people expect like, oh, man, if Gray Zabel was sitting there, that's where they would go. I think it's interesting. He's a good athlete. He absorbs contact, all of those things. He's wide. He can play with low pad level, but there's concerns that I really have about that going to guard. Like I really have concerns there. But then you look at a guy like Josh Connerly, and while everybody kind of looks at him like, oh, he's the tackle, he'd be the future at Kansas City or something. Well, I wouldn't count him out for the Lions. The guy is an athlete. He's not the best athlete, but he pulls well. He's a good zone blocker. I like him in pass protection. There's a lot of consistency. He's only 21 years old. I don't think a guy like that should be overlooked for the Lions potentially. Like if we're going to talk offensive lineman at the top, keep your eyes on every offensive lineman that could be available at the top. And for me, a guy like Josh Connerly is really interesting at that spot. But ultimately, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to grab Donovan Jackson because he's still available for some reason. And this makes the job easy. 6'3.5", 320 pounds. I think that he's going to step into guard and it's going to be easy for him. Not easy for him. I don't say that, but it's going to be an easy transition because, of course, he was playing guard. When Simmons was healthy, he stepped in at left guard next to him. Obviously, the injury, he pops in at left tackle, handles business throughout the entire ride of just dealing with a gauntlet of players. So that makes sense. But for me, it's left guard. I'm going to step him in at left guard because I think athletically and power-wise, there's a lot that's going to translate. I think he's a smart offensive lineman. He plays really fast right now. He's got a little dog to him. He's got an edge to him. Like, for example, I like a guy like Jonas Savina, right out of Arizona. I know I said his name wrong, but I've liked that player for a while. I think, all right, he's got some versatility here. But I every time I watch him, like, I don't know if he has that extra edge to him that I want from my offensive lineman. I think Donovan does, and he does it in the little ways. Not that he's going out, laying on the play and shoving guys on the ground. You're like, that's it. He's got the dog. It's not that. It's the sustain. It's the way that he continues to work to just fight and stay with blocks. It's that. He's got a strong foundation, a great form. His posture is going to connect right to guard. It makes him look like a guard just the way that he plays. He creates force from the ground. He's got scheme flexibility, which I think is always ideal. And if you're going at the top of the draft, which typically you have to do that to find scheme versatile players, but at guard, you can get that. Again, this may end up having to be a first-round pick. There's a world which the Lions may have to move up to get a guy like Donovan Jackson, just because of how weird the tackle class is at the top, the injury to Josh Simmons. If someone viewed him as a tackle and they wanted him, they may even have to move up to get this guy. But in this case, PFF still lets him fall. So for me, I mean, why not take advantage of that? Now, the trade that I made, all right, we can talk more about the player, but the trade that I made is probably the most interesting aspect here. So I gave up 66 and I ended up giving up take that back. That's what I got. I gave up 102 and 105. So this was the pick that I ended up. Did I get this pick? Yeah, I got this pick from the Giants at the beginning. So I just put it back into the trade. We have 102. That's our end of comp round pick. So the early fourth we get from the Giants, the comp pick that we get, give them to the Chiefs. Now, the difference is I'm giving them a future third, but I'm expecting to get we are going to get another future third comp pick for Aaron Glenn. So as long as we're good, the gap between this third round pick and what the comp pick should be shouldn't be that far off. I mean, if you win the Super Bowl, you might be a couple picks off from what that comp pick is at the end of the third round versus where your third round pick is. So as a believer, I believe we're going to be really good again. I don't see much of a gap between these two picks. And in return, I also get their fourth round pick, which I believe they have 2 fourth round picks. This one's from Chicago. So we're pick swapping, and it's not like ideal to go back, but now I would have 2 fourth round picks instead of 2 third round picks, and one could be at the end anyway. So that's why, this trade ended up going down. I think the value here does make sense. I was going to pull the stats of these guys. Let me do that. Let me grab the stats of Donovan Jackson, but it's weird because he played guard and tackle. So it's weird. He was awesome at guard to begin the season. Do we have exact stats here? Like, he's played over 800 snaps 2 seasons ago, the last 2 seasons before this past season at left guard. So he's had a ton of experience there anyway. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay. I think this guy's going to translate at guard. I think the hands, the way that he's well built for his frame to be able to take on, blocks, and the way that he can enter into blocks, but also the fact that his length with his technique ties together well. Some guys don't utilize their length well. I think he does. He can mistime his punches at times, but I love his pace. I like the scheme flexibility. I love the length that he carries. I think it's going to give him a little bit more range as a blocker, which makes it really easy for me at guard. And then the body control translates as well. He keeps his head up, keeps his posture back as a mover. He's fluid around the arc, and that can show up at tackle as well. He's balanced. Ultimately, I think Donovan Jackson could be a first-round pick. We got him in the second. So this plugs in. He'll start at guard. Maybe. He could compete, I guess, with Graham Glasgow. And then, I could just call him a starter. Either way. And then Graham Glasgow is going to compete with Mahogany for the other starting guard spot. And that kind of puts our offensive line in a great spot with the day one starter there. Okay. Now let's keep it moving. We're going to go back into the draft with pick 66. This was a pick that – how did I get this pick? Oh, you know what? I skipped the trade. Okay, that's why this makes more sense. All right, I explained the trade that happened there. That trade I just explained actually just happened. The move to get Donovan Jackson was a move up from 60 to 56. Okay, that's what it was. Because I'm like, we had another pick in there somewhere. It was 130. Okay, so that's how that happened. All right, let me make that I said the wrong trade. I guess I had the wrong trade. The way that they line this doesn't make sense. Anyways, we did that trade to go up again a second time to go get Josiah Stewart, because again, you have to play the board with this thing. I don't feel like I need to explain it. Y'all understand. All right. If you don't play the board with it, you're going to get the same results as PFF. They just update in, clumps. And then it's like, all right, here's your update. This is what it's going to be now. So then you just have to adapt to that. But Josiah Stewart's going to be the pick. I'm going to be honest. This one kind of was I don't want to say a need pick, because like, okay, yeah, with Davenport and with Levi and with Hutch, like, yeah, I think we could have our starters. But in this sense, like I didn't want to get out of here without an edge. I didn't want to go through this, be like, yeah, I didn't draft an edge in the first 3 rounds. Like I would be a little bit disappointed with that shaking out. It's fine. I like going best player available, and we did that, but I still want to walk away with an edge at some point. And I think to get Josiah Stewart, is that right? I can walk away with Josiah Stewart and be pretty happy. Josiah Stewart is a ton of fun to watch. Obviously, I had the experience to do the interview with him at the Senior Bowl, which was awesome. It was also scary as well. But shout out to Josiah Stewart for doing that. The guy's not massive, and you got to see that in person. Like the guy's not this. Oh wow, he's a giant, and that's what people are going to be concerned about. Are concerned with that as a run offender, but I still think that he brings the length, which is fine. And it's the fact that he would have games where, I mean, he absolutely just torched teams. I mean, they just keep it simple. You played a bad offensive line, he just wrecked the game. It was just that straightforward. And I think that in the NFL, he's going to have some of that immediately contributing, like he can get after the quarterback. But he also has the element of he feels like a lion in the sense that he plays with that fiery. He's a ball of fire as a player, which anytime I get that and I feel that when I'm watching the game, it immediately intrigues me. And his numbers are ridiculous. Like if we're just looking at it from like, all right, did he produce? Insanely. A 28% pass rush win rate is essentially, I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't even know who that compares to be honest. Is that better than James Pierce? I don't know. It's insane, that kind of number. 8.3% run stop rate. Again, people will be concerned about his length, and I get that translating to the next level, but ultimately, like, for what we're looking for and what we do have, like I think about when having Levi for another, having Davenport back, like I could go a little bit off the wall a little bit if he's small and he doesn't play the run, now we might have a problem. But his willingness, and I think the way that he showcases his play strength, he's got a strong base, he's got a consistent shed. As a run defender, like he doesn't always show heavy hands at the point of attack, but for me, he's got very fast hands, the early entry. He's got a smooth club move into the pass rush aspect as well. The fact that he will play the run allows this to make sense for me, but he's got that change of pace to his game. He can kind of speed up, slow down, kind of the way that he rushes the quarterback, which I think is fantastic. He attacks half man. Like you want to think about guys that are going to get on the top shoulder of a lineman and then just drive him backwards. Like where are they going to win from that? That's just going to collapse. We think of pocket collapsers, but we usually think of these big, long dudes that just overwhelm people. Josiah Stewart can be a pocket collapser just because of his play style, the way that he changes pace, the way that he opens those opportunities for himself. He can be a little bit stiff in some spots in terms of some of the bend, but he's got the contact balance. He's got the change of pace that he has. He's got the lean. For me, like ultimately the way that he plays will kind of play into like, all right, he's a pocket collapser just in his own right. So that's how we wrap up the first 3 rounds. I feel like it's kind of weird because our starters, the second draft pick potentially, I think Donovan will start. The other 2 are not starters. Like Josiah Stewart could be a rotational piece, of course, early. Like he could just be you put him out there in for Derek Barnes, let him rush the passer. He is going to be that early, and then we'll kind of have to sort out his role long term there. And Maxwell Hairston, of course, is like, all right, with what we have, like, is he a starter? I don't know. I mean, maybe he starts over Rakestraw, maybe he doesn't. But in the future, we'll have a role for him with Amik Robertson likely walking, and then you have DJ Reed and look at how his contract shakes out. Eventually, if there's an out, if you get out of that early, that kind of thing. But I just think he fits in stylistically. I mean, he's going to take the ball away. And here's one thing I'll say to this. Like maybe I could even put him at safety. I mean, I think that's even on the table too. But a free safety, I think that's on the table. Like find a way to get on the field. A guy that has ball skills will get on the field. When I think about like the Kirby Joseph draft pick, right? He was long. He didn't have a lot of playing experience, but he would take the ball away. And there was a lot of question about everything else in his game. Hairston will take the ball away. And what the Lions have gotten at corner, Carlton brought that to the table. Right now they lose Carlton. Carlton brought that, and he only brought it really in one game, but he did. And it was mainly the fact that he would get his hands on the football. Hairston maybe brings a little bit different dynamic because while he may not intercept the ball a ton, right, maybe like an Amik Robertson, he'll get his hands on the football. Maxwell Hairston will take the football away. So he does kind of bring that element back. And I do think that as we go forward, as we continue to build this cornerback room, we want guys that are ultimately going to take the ball away. So I think he fits into that. Okay. That moves us on to these final 2 draft picks. I got my notes everywhere here, so we'll just talk about it. Or the final 3. By the way, I think I'm showing the wrong. I don't know when I did that. I don't know if that was like that the whole time, but let me make sure it was not like that the whole time. If it was, oh my God. I hope it wasn't like that the whole time. Here we go. I don't know what I was showing. Hopefully I wasn't. Was I showing the wrong thing, the wrong time? Yeah, I was. That's great. All right. But hey, y'all heard me talk about it though. So we good. We got it fixed. All right. Let's move on to day 3. And at day 3, I don't want to say we're like chasing needs here, but these are 3 guys I think are super interesting. First off, I want to go before we go to Elijah Clark out of Syracuse. We grabbed the safety. We definitely added some depth here. They're hating on it for some reason. Gave me a D. I don't know what they're doing there. But before we go to Elijah Clark, because I think his flexibility is everything. He could step down, play over the slot. When he sees it, he's rangy. He does have some build up speed, not his short area quickness as much there. Coverage wise, stat wise, it wasn't fantastic this past season. But before we get to him, even though I just did a little bit, Ethan Downs. All right, so on Bleacher Report Wednesday, I did a sleeper video. I talked about some sleeper prospects. The only one that I ended up drafting is Ethan Downs, but I also kind of felt an obligation. Like, I can't do the mock draft after doing the sleeper video and be like, "Yo, some of these dudes might be in our mock draft," and then draft none of them. I feel like that's that's like, all right, I hear they were sleepers, but you did draft any. What are we doing? All right, here we go. Ethan Downs does get in this draft here, but it's actually perfect when you take Josiah Stewart and then you add Ethan Downs. The kind of offset of what the skill set is kind of works here, right? Like, this is a player that doesn't bring much length, which is going to be the concern. You're like, what role can he fit? I comped him, or I say my early like feel for him, if you guys saw the video, was Jonah Ellis. Like, my early feel was like Jonah Ellis, who went to Denver round 2. He was a different build. Obviously, he was super athletic. He was like 20 pounds lighter. Ethan Downs is going to come in at 6'4", 270 pounds, which is fantastic, but he doesn't even he's built that way because he's not that long. He's built that way in like a really boxy type of way. Like, this dude is rocked up edge rusher. That dude, he gave guys problems. I remember the first game I went through was Ole Miss, and he just gave them problems all day long. It was like, you got to give somebody else on this guy. But it was specifically this that stood out to me. Like, the one thing that caught my eye, like early impression, was he was dealing with back spasms. And you could see it visibly, like, oh, he's going through something, like halfway through the game. And he just stayed on the field and he kept fighting through it. And he's had to kind of go through that and deal with it. But even though he doesn't have fantastic length, with his build, he's kind of built to be like a defensive end. But ultimately, like, he may have the athleticism that you could stand him up and rush and maybe let him shed some pounds, let him get a little bit quicker and let him do that. I think he found a way to enter into blocks, which led to a lot of success for him. He kind of played with some natural leverage, but man, he played with an energy that I love. The way that he'd enter into context, the explosion into context was awesome as well. And the run defender, like, he showed some discipline as a run defender, which showed off there. So, look, I think the ceiling's probably limited just because of his build alone. But ultimately, if he can become like a backup defensive end, a John Kaminsky type with some flexibility up and down the line, maybe even stand him up in some spots, that might be worthwhile for the pick here to just kind of add some of that. And then we end up with Elijah Badger, the receiver out of Florida here. I'm not really sure why he's ranked this low. I'm going to be honest. If there's certain guys where you're kind of like, at some point he's going to change his ranking, I think Badger would probably have his ranking changed at some point. I just don't know if they've gotten to him yet. So I'm just going to anticipate that, get ahead of it now while he's still a low prospect for me. I'll just draft him. That's fine. Elijah Badger is built really well. Let me get the actual measurements that they have with him. I don't even have the exact measurements in front of me. Let me get those pulled up here. That way I don't have to sit here and scatter through notes to try to make that make sense. They have him listed at I think it's 6'1", like 180, 6'1", 190. Okay, a little bit stockier than that. Elijah Badger tested out really well as well. He ran like a close to, I think it was a 4.4, maybe the high 4.3s. The guy flew, and that shows up. Like, you talk about the vertical threat taking up like level 3 ability, which, we kind of looked for that at one point with Antoine Green, didn't really get it there. And then we have Ronnie Bell, who adds the soft season that I think adds much less of that. I remember my biggest knock, we added Ronnie Bell, or not when we added him, but coming out of the draft was his play speed. I thought it was average. Elijah Badger isn't that. All right. He's going to be able to take the top off. He's going to be able to roll specifically. He's going to create separation from that alone. You're just going to have to add more of the polish aspect, which I thought is what Ronnie Bell had, to his game. So it kind of offsets what the two bring to the table. They bring something a little bit different, but Badger's still a very young prospect. I think he's in his 21 years old. I think he's still relatively young. As a senior right now, but specifically, like, for me, it's the ability to take off the top vertically, which is something I'm looking for if I'm going to add a receiver late. It's the size that he brings. It's kind of the flexibility to play a little bit inside and outside, though I would kind of lean towards him more so as an outside receiver. He does change his tempo really well, which is something that's good for a vertical threat, a guy that can change tempo specifically. And let me get his exact production from this past season that he had. Yeah, Elijah, he was productive as heck. He had over 800 yards. Really, over the last 3 seasons, had over 700 yards receiving. So it's been consistent production from the player. Caught 70% of his contested passes. I think ultimately, like, this player is not going to be here at some point. I don't know why he's ranked this low, but he is. Elijah Badger kind of wraps up this draft for us. Just give us some competition at the receiver position ultimately. So, and then we added Elijah Clark, and I want to touch a little bit more on Elijah Clark before we get out of here. We do need safety depth depending on what the Lions do. They've added Avonte Maddox. The closer we get to this, I think he's going to be playing as a backup safety, especially now. It just makes sense because of how I drafted it. Unless you're going to make Maxwell Harrison a safety, it just makes sense to do it now. But this is a player that, like I said, he's very versatile. He's played pretty much everywhere. Deep safety, put him in the box, put him over the slot. He's played everywhere. I think his ability to recognize route development, his ability to get ahead of route development makes him play quicker than he is. He could match up with tight ends because of that better than like slot receivers. That could be a problem. I don't think he has the short area quickness that's going to match up very well. I think he might get, just torched in some of those spots, give up way too much space because it's more build up speed and more route development, and be able to anticipate where something is going versus kind of just being able to mirror match guys. So as a true safety that doesn't play over the slot, probably better, maybe get him over tight ends with his length, with his size. It just might be a better matchup spot for him more consistently to have him work there. But again, I like how he plays, man. He's willing to step in. He'll hit guys when he gets the opportunity to. I mean, you'll see him kind of just fly across the field and just take somebody out. And I think he gets kind of ahead of not only route development, but even run development, the way that he kind of gets into spots where he can contain things, force things back inside. And I think for the Lions here, needing some safety depth truly with what we need right now, this would make some sense. Could kind of give some balance, but also some flexibility to the back end. So that wraps up the draft here. I want to get on Ethan Down's stats because I think we hit on him when we did our sleeper video on Wednesday. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It should be up there, our sleepers, and he was one of them. We kind of talked about him in a little bit more detail, but let me grab the numbers because I know he was incredibly productive. And maybe some of the numbers will put it into perspective. Yeah, 14% pass rush win rate this past season. It was 3.7% against the run. I liked how he took on blocks. His take on technique, his ability to shed was there. It was just about finishing, and some of the range is going to be very limited due to the size that he plays with. But he got ahead of things pretty well as a run defender. That was the big key for me. And obviously, he's doing it against the best conference in football. Arguably, now it may be the Big Ten. I don't know. However people want to go with it. Regardless, we grabbed a lot of those dudes. All right, Big Ten and SEC. We went there pretty heavy with this mock. So with that being said, that is a mock. I think we'll call it 2.0 over here on Bleacher Report. We grabbed one of our sleepers. We got a day one starter in Donovan, and we continue to build up that defense with a guy that's going to immediately produce. I wouldn't call him a starter with Josiah, but he's going to get after it. Like, I know when in doubt, like, it's not going to be one of these things where I'm like, oh man, at the trade deadline, who can just bring any kind of pass rush? He's going to bring that. Like, I don't doubt that. It's figuring everything else out, but he's going to bring that. And as a run defender, 3-down ability, there's going to be just limitations based on his build. But if there's a guy that you want to bet on that can overcome them, Josiah Stewart's not a bad direction to look. All right, so that wraps it up over here on Bleacher Report. I appreciate y'all joining. And next Monday, I'll see you same time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're out. Have a great weekend. And hopefully you enjoyed the mock draft. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. Maybe it was tragic. I don't know. But over here on YouTube, I know you probably didn't enjoy it because I was showing the wrong mock draft for the first half. See, that threw me off because I'm looking at it like, I don't know how I missed that. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how I looked at the wrong mock draft half of the time. I don't know. I was looking at it and I just read it. That's where your brain, he plays tricks on you, man, because you're looking at something and you're just like assuming you're saying the same thing. They're both colors. There's colors on both of them. This has got to be right. Yeah, it's a disaster. They're right. You know what I shouldn't have done? I shouldn't have stacked the mocks on top of each other. I have one right here, one right here. I don't know what caught my eye. Maybe it was like, look, this one was graded better at the back end. I don't know what it was. Bottom 18%. All right, maybe this one actually was worse. Dang, they're cooking me. All right, shout out to BFF for cooking me. Actually, they gave me some high grades, though, towards the end, so I don't know what got me into the bottom whatever percentile. I don't know what they did. Yes, hey, I apologize. That's on me, though. I'm glad I got it fixed. I'm glad it wasn't wrong on Bleacher Report. That would have been even worse because then it's like I can't even fix this. I don't know what we're doing. That's not even, I can't edit that. It's just a disaster. Yeah, we try to hit 30-minute blocks there, roughly, so I kind of have to like keep the pace moving. Otherwise, if it goes way over, it just doesn't work as well as a show. So there was other graphics and stuff that I had to throw up, but we're just flying, so we didn't even get to it. Draft goes this way. You got to bring back Za'Darius, another accomplished edge. I think you definitely I'd want to bring in a guy. If the draft went like this, I'd almost want to bring in a guy, and you could go that direction. I think he's still available. Let me double check actually before I say this, because last time I was with Easy on their Woodward show, and I felt bad. I named players that weren't even available anymore. Shout out to free agency happening too fast. But let me see if it's still available. He should be still available. My guy from Chicago, someone like that, I think would be a perfect signing because then he'd bring you length and size. He'd be like your typical defensive end that would have limitations to pass rusher. He's more of an effort rusher, so you'd get there eventually. I think someone like that would be kind of the move for me, just to bring in a little bit more of a build. All right, let me see if he's still out there. Yeah, DeMarcus Walker, he's still available. Like a guy like that is someone that I would want to bring in then at that point, because then I could bring that in, and then it's depending at that point based on his deal, what it would probably look like at over 30 years old. Probably be a 1 year, kind of a prove it deal, which would probably mean not a lot of guarantees, which would also mean that if he doesn't make the team, it's okay. Like in that point, it's okay because for healthy, he doesn't have to necessarily, but having that kind of just in the fold, I think would make a lot of sense at that point to bring someone like that back in. Because Josiah, to me, I would bet on being a better pass rusher. Like he's gonna get after the quarterback better than pretty much everybody out there that's available, or at least what we've seen the last of. Like I wouldn't doubt that. I would be pretty optimistic that he's going to bring us a big jolt as just a pure pass rusher, but just to bring in a little bit more size to the mix, that's where I would do it. Yeah, I just dipped out over there though. We're still here over here. We'll kind of wrap this thing up over here. I had the problem with like showing clips over there is they don't really show like normally, so it's kind of hard for me to show both. I did have clips though, but I don't even think I'm going to be able to pull them at this point just because of where they're at. But the Maxwell Harrison thing, man, is super interesting. Like Nick Emanwari was kind of the other direction I was thinking about going entering this one, just because that's what I didn't want to keep trading up. Every time I trade up, you guys have seen that. You see me take Michael Williams. I want to do something different. So I was like, all right, what if I get to stand pat? And while I think offensive line's interesting, I think just based on the way that they have their rankings, they'll update this, I'm sure. I don't think Donovan Jackson is going to continue to be ranked here. And I also don't think, certain other guys will be ranked where they are. Based on how it's set up, I could have went that direction. I would have probably taken Josh Connerly and said, like, okay, we could potentially get him to guard. But with them having Jackson still ranked this low, it just made more sense to not make that pick there and just go elsewhere. And I think the next step up, based on what the board was, because I don't think Loveland's going to be available. Like, I just don't even see that as a possibility. Maxwell Harrison's a lot of fun, man. I think the Lions would like him. He's going to take the football away. And anybody time he had guys like that, I'm on board. Isn't there any good free agent guard available? Why hasn't anyone signed him? Isn't there a good? I like Brandon Sheriff. I think that's on his timeline though. I think that I think he's the best guard, like kind of by a mile. Like I don't think there's much else out there. Hernandez okay, but it really falls off. He's probably the best one by far. KO's still available. If you're just looking for depth. I think it's just on his timeline. I don't think it's that nobody has interest. I think that he's just waiting to find an opportunity because he's going to come in and start somewhere. And I don't know how the Lions view things. Like, again, when the Lions signed Lambrasser, they signed him as a starter. They didn't sign him as a backup. He became the backup last year because Mahogany was playing so well. But they didn't sign him with that, like, intention. He was signed to be the guard. It was like, he has flexibility. So he could also be looking at the Lions situation like, yo, I'm not signing there. They got Glasgow, they got Mahogany, and they have the draft coming up. At very least, let me wait and to see what they do, because if they come out and do something like this, I don't want to be signed there. And if the Lions are also having the same thing, like, yo, we have interest, but we don't need to get this done yet. We have interest, though, but just know that we may go early offensive lineman. Then I think for both sides, just kind of seeing how everything shakes out first and then making that move. I think that's where he's probably at with it, because I think that's the leverage that he carries right now, and teams are probably in a weird spot. But yeah, he's like the best guard available, I think, by far. I don't even think it's close. And then, like I said, Hernandez would be second for me, but it falls off pretty quickly after that. There's not much after that. If did I check out the corners from Kansas? Not that much, to be honest, since we've last talked. I've went through a lot of players, but it was kind of all over the board, to be honest. Like I did the JT video today. It was kind of all over the board with who I went through. I dialed back in on the top corners because I really wanted to kind of wrap up how I felt about a lot of those guys. So I revisited Morrison. I went through Elijah Arroyo just to kind of think of, like, see if it was an idea. I went through Powell Ryland out of Virginia Tech to kind of get a sense on what that was. I looked at some of the later tight ends like Lackey, I think that's his name, a little bit as well, because I had to do the sleeper video. So I kind of dove into some of those pieces. I went through some more Colston Loveland to kind of figure out like where he actually is going to go. I don't think he's going to get to 20, to be honest, after watching him. Like I don't even think that's going to be a possibility. There's little things, but he's too athletic. Like that dude's going to go super high. And then I dove into some wide receivers in the mid rounds a little bit. Like I kind of got a better a sense of some of the mid round wide receivers, and then probably guard. Like a lot of the meat of the guards, like the Tate Ratledge, the Wyatt Millums. I mean, just kind of going on a list. Like I try to get a real, like, good, well-roundedness, revisiting Donovan Jackson, get a good sense of what that's going to look like. And then, like I said, some scattered wide receivers like Savion Williams, kind of getting into some of the middle portions of the wide receiver group, because, I'm trying to keep everything available. I just haven't done anything in like a straightforward way. So no, Kobe Bryant's a guy I haven't watched much of. Everybody has told me they've loved him. I haven't heard a guy that was like, I'm not a Kobe Bryant guy. Everybody that I've talked to that's done anything draft for their team has loved Kobe Bryant. So I don't doubt that. And I'm excited to see him because, the last Kobe Bryant, I don't think has worked that well in the NFL, but it's a fantastic name. And if we ended up drafting a Kobe Bryant, might have to get that jersey. I'm just gonna be honest. Like I at least the shirt. That might be the shirt. Like I feel like I'm always getting one now at least from a draft class. That would probably have to be the shirt. Without having seen him, I probably, defensive line isn't dressed probably to never be good. I can't read. Dang, Tony, hold up. I got to slow myself down. You put that capital word in there and it threw me off. He said it'd never be good enough to win a ring. Win a ring. We've had brand new secondary pass to see the same result. You get worked by a quarterback. Yeah, I don't know what you mean same result because we had the best secondary in football. So it's definitely been, I think you're just saying in terms of losing. Obviously, I'm the one that's also a proponent of getting better on the front seven, just in general. I'm not even like as defensive line like oriented. Like it could be anywhere, just get better there. But I'm mainly on stop the run first. So I agree with you from that sense. I think the defensive linebacker room, you could throw in corner safety because that helps. Just get better against the run. That's where I was step one. Now, I think they brought back pretty much everybody. Like, I mean, pretty much everybody outside of the area is brought back. So they're kind of back to where they originally began. I think getting Barnes was a huge part of that, and so was Levi. So if they wanted to kind of just like, we got to get better against the run, that's something that I'm also on board with as well. I think adding Roy Lopez was a huge step because they needed a backup nose tackle. That was step one for me there. And then it was obviously trying to figure out who's defensive end number two. If Marcus Davenport's healthy, I'm confident with those two is stopping the run. Like I'm very confident. It's just then about depth at that point. I'm pretty confident. Hopefully we get a step out of Mekhi Wingo because his flexibility will be very valuable. Play some 3-tech potentially coming in early in the year, backing up without having Aleem McNeil, letting Levi start there. Like that would be a really nice 1-2 that we could potentially get. In this case, Josiah Stewart, maybe like physically doesn't make you a lot better against the run, unfortunately, but he definitely adds a lot of juice to the pass rush. But Ethan Down comes back, kind of gives me a little bit of both. So I feel good about both those players rounding this out in this mock specifically. But I hear where you're coming from. If we trade down and draft a cornerback, I'm going to explode. Okay, hey, well, I appreciate the 5-piece. If you're going to, hey, pause on that. Hold up, that sounded crazy. Are we giving up a Rakestraw? You know I'm not, right? Like Rakestraw, I think Rakestraw is going to be outstanding. I love me some Rakestraw. Like, so keep in mind, I definitely had that in mind when I made this draft pick because I have the jersey. So realistically, if the Lions take a cornerback, as someone that has a Rakestraw jersey, like I still have to find a path for making him work because I think he's going to be awesome. So I'm definitely not giving up on him. That being said, though, I think there is definitely a path where our top pick does not start this year because of where we're at. So, okay, let's say this. So especially if we trade back specifically, like if we trade back, even if we sit at 28, depending on the edge that we get, there's a real chance that guy doesn't start over a healthy Davenport. I think there's a real shot. Like depending, you give me the name and I'll tell you, but I think there's a real shot at that point. Offensive guard would probably be the best shot at starting as a first-round pick because of where you're taking him. If I took him in the first round, he probably has a very good shot of starting. I still don't think it's a lock because you have Glasgow and Mahogany, but I think he has the best shot of starting at that point. That way you can add the Glasgow flexibility back. Wide receiver, like if we drafted a receiver, I guess he'd probably start, but I don't know why exactly they would do that. Like you don't want to just take any receiver. I guess he would maybe, I don't even know if he would start with Saint and JMO. Like maybe, I don't know, because then Tim Patrick would just kind of become backup, but I'm not pressing to do that. Linebacker, I don't think there's a linebacker that we would draft that would start unless it's Jalen Walker or something that's just also a pass rusher. Like I love Demetrius Knight, but I don't think they would, even if they drafted him, I still look at him as a backup. So it's like, it kind of puts me in a weird spot. So there's only a couple spots. Like if we went nose tackle, he's not going to start. Is he going to be our backup? Maybe, but he would have to have some flexibility to play up and down the line. Like if he could play the 3-tech, then early he could start while Levi could then stay at DN, then you wouldn't have to kick him back inside. That's an option. But ultimately, then he may become the backup throughout the season. Once Aleem gets back, he'd be like, oh, you're the backup again. So like you have flexibility to find yourself back on the field. So I'm not pressed. Like typically we would look at it as the first 2 rounds, really the first round, day 1 starting impact. Day 2, though, potential starter year 1, doesn't have to be a starter year 1. I think based on where the Lions pick in the first round, if it's not a trade up, there's a real shot that guy doesn't start just because of where our roster's at. But it really just depends. So that's why I think everything should be kind of on the table. I think clearly the most likely 2 positions they go is edge rusher and then offensive line. If you're looking for starting capabilities, like those would be the 2, because especially if you trade up, that guy definitely could then start. If you sit where you are, it's kind of like, all right, we'll see. And then if you trade back, there's a real shot that you're not starting him and he's a rotational piece. Offensive line, like I said, it's kind of in that boat where definitely could start, especially if it's first round because it's Glasgow. If you wait past first round, then there's a little more competition. But even in this case, if you got Jackson around 2, he's a starter, right? So if I just took Jackson at first and I took Harrison with my second pick, you would just flip the way you're looking at it. And you would be like, Jackson's the starter, Harrison not the starter, maybe the starter. We'll see. We'll let that kind of shake its way out. but it's just a different way to look at it. Like, you're still, in my opinion, getting a starter here. It's just a different way that it kind of shook up. I think he's going to be aggressive. I mean, we saw him be aggressive last season, but like, I'm curious to see how aggressive that is, right? Because I think there's like reasons to be aggressive, but I also think there's like an unreasonable aggressiveness, which I don't want to bet on. Like, I'm not counting anything out with him, but I think like trading up for him for, I would be pretty surprised if he traded up for an offensive lineman, but I guess it could be on a case like if you thought Booker was going to go pretty early, then maybe something like that, or a Jackson. But like, I wouldn't want to, like, I think them trading up for a receiver would be very unlikely. I think him trading up for tight end would be super unlikely. So the most likely for sure is definitely going to be edge. Like, if they're going to trade up, I think it would be for an edge rusher. That I could see happening. I could see happening because as deep as it is, like, if you want, like, that dude's definitely going to start. Trading up would be the safest bet because I don't think that those guys are going to get to 20. I think most of those guys probably won't get to 20 that you're pretty sure are going to start right away. Then you get into a little bit of competition there. But it's also where you're at. Like, certain teams, like if Atlanta was picking at 28 and they took an edge there and didn't move, that guy would start because their edges are terrible. Like, they're just not, they don't have anybody. They would have to start. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. He's starting anyway. If I sit at 28 and shoot, I don't even know who that would be. Like, I can't even think of names right now. Let me I have to throw some up. Lions are too good to start first draft to start first year draft pick. Yeah, like, they're in a good spot, you know, and that's a good spot to be in. It makes it very unpredictable. But that's why I did this, because you guys have seen me taking, you know, edge rushers pretty much every time. You've seen me go a lot of offensive line will be coming up soon here. You guys see me do a lot of things. So I want to change it up, keep it fresh, have to approach things differently. Like, y'all saw me do one with an edge rusher with my last pick of the draft or something. That feels very far-fetched. This one feels more on the table. What happened to our boy Chris Paul? Nothing happened to him. Y'all love Chris Paul, not me, okay, DT fan, man. I didn't start this trend of loving Chris Paul, okay? I didn't do this, but I will say, when we start using other simulators, this will also probably change things, because the simulator, like right now, like it's stuck with where players are. So like, I don't feel like a player is like worth that draft pick. It's hard for me to draft him, because then I'm like, well, shoot, I can't wait. Like, there's no path. It's not like there's other people that are drafting it. Until the thing has another update, it's not going to move. Like, if you go to Walk the Mock, which will probably be your next mock draft, I use Walk the Mock, whether doing it with person or the computer, it's going to change things in a massive way. And that's where a guy like that could come into play. But they have Paul pretty high, I'm pretty sure. So like, makes it difficult. But I mean, he may eventually get into one. I'm not going to lie. He may eventually get into one, just because I think he could be a fit for the Lions. Let me see, though. He's pretty high on here. I think he's in the top 100. Could be wrong on that. Let me double check. Maybe they changed it. Chris Paul, yeah, he's 75. Like, to me, that's too high. I didn't see him as a top 75 player. So like, it's just too high. They have him as linebacker 3 when we're on the board. Like, I don't know what to do with that. I would have to take him basically where I took Donovan Jackson, or I'd have to trade up like I did for Josiah to take him, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm not doing that. Like, Barrett Carter now is more realistic. I'm at 128. That's something that now that I could make a shake. I haven't thought about it in this draft. It's just a weird gap that we're dealing with like, once I move, I have such a gap, kind of a weird spot. It's like I can chill, and then we'll see what the impact becomes. I don't know. It puts me in a really, really weird spot with having that large gap and not having a 4th round pick. That's why I do think there's a real path that, like, take all the jumping around aside, they could just give up their future 3rd for a 4th again this year. Like, seeing them do it in some way that could happen again this year, I would be on board. I guess I kind of did that in this mock, right? Like, I gave up my future 3rd and I got a 4th back, but I got something back. I didn't just give it the future 3rd. But now we have 2 4ths next year. So still have something. Still got something. Trey Harris, that's one of the wide receivers I haven't watched yet. I haven't watched much about Trey Harris at all. I've watched his teammate, but not him. So I got to watch more Trey Harris. Charles Grant is a project. Maybe a little bit. I got to pull up what I have here. I don't know that, like, starting day 1, probably not, right? But I don't think he's like that far off. Let me see. I don't remember thinking he was that far off from being able to play, but it's just also what position our team's going to try to play him at. Like, I think the thought is he's going to go to guard, but like, is a project, like he could stay at tackle potentially and then be considered more of a project. Like, I could see that being on the table for him. Interior, if you're kicking him to the inside, he's probably going to play pretty fast. That'd be my guess. Harris is far consistent. Oh, snap. Okay, hold up. Consistent in what ways? Drop a lot of passes or something? All right. C+. Yeah, they cooked me. Look, man, I've never had good luck with this. You know what I mean? Like, I think the last one was the last one worse? Hold up. Let me see. Oh, B minus. Okay. Yeah. No, dude, I PFF hates my drafts. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Always dreamt of drafting pure depth in the first. Now we're potentially there. It's uneventful. Be careful what you wish for, I guess. Hey, man, that's right. Like, but also this is kind of fun though. Like, this would be fire. This would fire me up. You know what I mean? Seeing Maxwell Harrison as our draft. Like, if we moved back and then did that, like, yeah, he wouldn't start. I guess. Like to your point, is kind of upsetting, but it's also fun. Like, dude, that secondary going forward with Hairston, Rakestraw, Terrion Arnold, like that's your big three, right? So and DJ Reed now. So you would have like four corners you really like, and now it's like, all right, can anybody play safety? Because we do need safety depth, like big time. So now you could be like, anybody can play safety, try to find some flexibility. Maybe Harrison, let's see if we can get there. Rakestraw, maybe we try that out. Like something like that, you could try someone there. Against a team like Buffalo would be awesome because they play five wide all the time, so it'd be fantastic. But it would definitely set you up to not have to like worry about corner for a long time. Like you'd be like, dude, we're not paying anybody for a while here. We could potentially get out a Reed's deal early, depending on how that goes. Not saying we want to, but we could potentially haven't mock many DTs consider us. Yeah, I haven't. I haven't. That's a good point. I think one of my early mocks, I don't know if I did. I think I did over here. I took TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. I remember having a mock with him in there. Have I drafted any other ones? I don't know if I have. I know I took TJ Sanders. I don't think I've taken Farmer yet, but I've considered it. I haven't done it. Yeah, I guess I haven't. I mean, based on the PFF board, though, like true defensive tackles, it kind of falls off right after you get to Norman Lott, right? Because then you get to nose tackle. They have like every nose tackle listed. Everybody's a nose tackle after that, like a true nose tackle. And then it goes to like defensive end hybrids and then some nose tackles. So it kind of falls off of like true threes or interior defensive linemen, I guess you would call it, that aren't defensive ends in a 3-4. Like that kind of falls off pretty fast once you get past Shamar Turner. Plus, I don't know how many of these I like feel like is a perfect Lions fit. Like I like TJ Sanders. He's just a little undersized. I don't know. Lions might want more size there. I like Alexander a lot. He just ranks so high. It makes it difficult. I almost have to take him in the first round. I like him a lot. I just wouldn't take him in the first round. I don't think he's going to go that high either. I think that's kind of crazy. Um, I'm not big on Hart. I'm not big on Nolan. Not yet, at least. That one's one that I got to see if I can get my mind changed on it. I just haven't got there. Shamar Turner. I like Shamar Turner. I just feel like his flags and stuff would be hard for the Lions to make that pick. Not big on Tyleek either. And then, yeah, you get to some of the nose tackles, and that's different. Like, we could go nose tackle, but he would have to give some flexibility. Like, CJ West, like, the way he plays, I like it. It could fit some styles, but I just don't know that it fits us. He's so downhill and just kind of charging up gaps. Like, I don't know if Lions would do that. Like, I could see the fit for Farmer. I just didn't fall in love with him when I watched him. So if I did, like, Farmer feels like a Lion. Like, even his build reminded me of Lee McNeil. He just hasn't, like, he didn't get me excited when I watched him. I don't know. At some point, we'll probably have one. Yeah, at some point we'll definitely have one. It's just I feel good at nose tackle right now. Like I know I'm just like don't try not to draft like needs or whatever. Like ultimately I kind of do, I guess. But like I like where we're at nose tackle. I like Roy Lopez with DJ Reader with Broderick Martin. Like I kind of like that. One game will go for 110 and 150. The next game he'll drop passes easily. See, that's interesting though. Your second picks are fire. Maintain the O-line strength. Get a dog edge rusher. That's what I'm talking about, JK. So we got some dogs, right? I couldn't like go. I couldn't go edge again. I guess I could have. But in fairness, y'all didn't see the board. Let me see if I can show you guys the board. Did I save it? I don't think I saved it. Oh, I don't have the tab still. See, if I had the tab still, if I could show you who I couldn't take, right? This would make more sense. Because like I said, I was considering Eamon Worry heavy. Like if he was sitting there, I was going to probably take him. And then that would have probably gave us, it would have been harder to move up for Donovan Jackson. So you would have had to fall. But like if you could sub him out, that would have made it really interesting. At least from a needs perspective, it would have filled needs easier. Trying to think. Wouldn't that be something though? Lions go first and second round corner last year, and then they come back and take a corner this year. Yo, wouldn't that be something? My gosh, bro, that would be like full on. We don't care. we are taking best. Here you go. We took 3 straight cornerbacks. That would be nuts. Dang, yeah, I don't have it. Okay. PFF don't save him either, which is goofy. All right. Run it back and do one live. We can do one fast. I almost ended the stream. I almost clicked that button. I want to use walk the mock on one of these live because like I don't know how that's going to shake. I always feel like I come up with a plan for PFF. I have no plan over there. We could throw one up here just for fun, kind of see how it shakes out. Here we go. You can do that. Have you gotten Baron Sorrell? I've only watched a little bit of him. I really only watched a little bit because like the first time obviously was the Senior Bowl, getting a glimpse of it. I've watched a little bit. If I remember right, it was like a lot more. It was a lot less comfortable with the run defensive aspect, which probably pulled me away a little bit from fitting the Lions and kind of what I'm after. Kind of lay it out there, but I know he was like a stand up outside linebacker. Um, So that'll be when I have to go back through just to see how comfortable I can get with him as a run defender. Because like I want to be pretty comfortable with him as a run defender, at least in terms of the play style. Even if you're not built to do it, play style wise, like what I did to Tui Molowa, like I would be comfortable with him as a run defender. You know, Xavier Watts. I like Xavier Watts a lot. I think Xavier Watts is like plugged in right there. I think he's definitely going round 2. I think he's plugged in as one of the top safeties. Like I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. He's probably right there with safety 3 and 4, right? So, because again, they don't have Jalen Reed on here, which is crazy to be from Penn State. He should be right next to him. Jalen Reed should be right next to him. You think Colin Oliver can be a Sam linebacker? Yes, I do. We took Colin Oliver in the last mock. I do. Yeah, I think he could play that role. Probably be a little bit. Oh gosh, I just let this thing fly. Probably be a little bit less of a athlete in space than a guy like Barnes, but he can get after the quarterback. The run defense would be the problem, again. But like you get after the quarterback, can't stand political ads. They're still doing political ads. See, that was supposed to be over. Like the election happened. I don't know why. But I guess they probably just doing. I don't know. They doing everything. They doing too much. Okay, where are we at here? I guess we'll just sit. We'll just sit and pick. Okay. See, this is the board I typically get. Usually I also get Loveland in here where you can see he went 27. I think Eamon Warren went to the Rams when I did it too. So this is kind of the board I get every time. This is pretty much what I get every time. I did my full thing on Emeka Egbuka. I was thinking about doing a video last night. Honestly, I was going to do my breakdown video like 8. I fell asleep like 8 o'clock. I don't know what it was, bro. I slept so much yesterday. Like, I don't think I've been that tired in a minute. I literally was sitting here and I fell asleep sitting here. I got up, went downstairs, and fell asleep. It's like, yo, I was trying to get that video done. Did not happen. I didn't even start recording. It was a disaster. That was a whole disaster last night. But I like Egbuka. I like him a lot. I don't know that he's a first-round guy, though. I'm going to be honest. Like, after a while, I was like, I don't know that he'll go first round. It's interesting, but I don't know that he would. Let's see if I have my stuff, Andy. Oh, no, it's on the computer for him. Johnny Walker. Okay. All right. Lions trading back. I'm in Canada, so yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Harmon. I like Harmon too. I wonder about his fit directly with the Lions. I wonder if like a different scheme will like him a little bit more of an upfield player. If he was a little bit more of an upfield player, a little bit more of like setting the tone specifically when he's playing upfield, being more explosive into contact. But I think Harmon's very well rounded. I mean, he gets pushed off his spot a little bit, but bro knows how to rush the passer. He knows how to play to his strength really well. That little long arm move is super effective. I like Harmon a lot. I took Harmon at 11 at one point in one of our mocks. I don't know that he'll go to high. That was probably doing too much. But like, I feel like he's got a pretty high floor. Like, I feel like he's going to be good. Ashton Gillette, only a little bit. Yeah, I've only 40 plus pressures. I've only watched a little bit of him. Right before I did this show, I was going to watch him again, but I didn't have time, man. I didn't have time to put this mock together. But that was my next up. I actually have his name wrote down at the top. I don't even know what I'm looking for here. Yeah, so this is a weird spot. So like Harmon would be interesting. Harmon would be super interesting because I think there is some flexibility to his game. And I like him more than Kenneth Grant from what I've seen, but I just don't know about the fit exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't take Alexander this high. I would take Knight this high, if I'm being honest. I would. I've already drafted him though once. I did with Easy. Pierce, what pulls you away from Nick Scorton? What does Mike Kell do that Nick can't? I don't dislike Nick Scorton. He's also one I wonder about the fit for the Lions. Let me get my Nick Scorton stuff pulled up. I wonder about the fit for us. Let's see. I mean, they're definitely different types of players. Nick Scorton, 6'3.5", 285. He's young. I like that. I have him as a first-year sub-package player that needs to develop as a pass rusher. Better between the tackles. Question his ability to handle double teams. I didn't think he was built to hold his ground at the point of attack. See, that's the little bit of the issue. Like, I like guys that can hold the ground a little bit more than him. I think he's going to fit in a scheme where he could just kind of play upfield, plays a 3-4 DN. I liked him for Denver. Like, I had him go to Denver one time. Something like that, right, where you have a true nose tackle next to him. So I don't dislike him because Lions did do some 3-4 stuff last year. I like Nick Scorton. I'm curious if he goes round 1. He was productive at Purdue, and I'm looking at my stuff. I actually have a full video on it if you haven't seen it. I have a full video on him, but I have him good pretty much across the board. Very good play strength. Like, yeah, I'm a fan. His hand usage I had issues with clearly. I thought his hand usage was below average. I think Michael Williams is incredibly well-rounded. I think Michael Williams probably takes it to another level, to be honest. And like the production-wise, maybe not. Maybe a little bit less explosive, but I thought that he was good across the board. Like, I didn't have any knock. I thought his hand usage was better, was legitimately better. He's kind of fits the same mold, though. Like, I could see him as a 4-3 DN. I could see him kicking inside on 3-4 defense. It's just overall, I think that he's going to have a higher ceiling as a pass rusher. Like, I think he's going to be, and I think immediately he'd probably have a bigger impact as a pass rusher, to be honest. Like, I think he could come in as a pass rusher and immediately start. I think Scorton, you'd probably want to take a little bit of a minute as you're kind of rounding out his game. But I like both. And the fact that he's only a 3-year player, like, it makes sense. James Pierce is a 3-4 outside linebacker. Yeah, I think that's a absolutely fair opinion. It's a weird fit for us, right? Like, because I don't think he's a true DN either. Yeah, I don't think he's a true DN either. So you'd have to figure that out with our defense, how that's going to work. And I think you could make it work. You just want him line up on tight ends probably more than anything. But his play strength to me was closer to average. So it's not like to me, James Pierce is in a better spot than Kyle Kennard or someone like that. Someone that's not really built to play the role. Like at 6'5", 245, he had length. He's still a very young player. He's got more. He's not like your typical defensive end that I would want opposite of Hutchinson, but I don't think he's gonna get killed against the run just because I put him in there. Like he'd be capable, and he actually has like some of the higher level, I think, attributes to his game, especially as a pass rusher. Body control, he's smart. He's got a very good explosive first step, which is higher in the class for me, one of the higher in the class in terms of getting off the ball. I know King loves him for that aspect. But yeah, like for me, like average shed ability, average tackling, slightly above average hand use. So like it's just kind of a weird fit. But he'd get after it. Like we had James Pierce, I'd be hyped up. That dude's gonna get after the quarterback immediately. And I think I said in my video, like I feel like he might have a lower ceiling because of trying to figure out how well-rounded his role is going to be. But I think he's going to hit the ceiling. Like I think he's got a better shot. Like we would used to do things where we would grade dudes. We put our final grade. I haven't done it in my videos, but we put our final grade, and then they give us 2 boxes, and then we'd have to grade the percentage chance of them hitting the ceiling that we believe that they can get to as a grade, and the floor that they can get to as a grade. He would be one of those that I would say that I would give him a much higher percentage chance of actually hitting that ceiling, even though I'd have the grade a little bit lower on a ceiling. I'd give him a higher chance of hitting that than most edge rushers that I've watched. I think that he can get to his ceiling pretty fast. Ezra would probably be another guy, just as a pure pass rusher that could get to his ceiling pretty high. But I think Pierce has he's going to get there pretty quick. Fidel Diggs, great player, 3 high FBI. Is that the Syracuse player? Pierce on the line could sneak some defense rookie of the year looks. Now I don't doubt that at all. 10 plus on a strong defense, potential run weeks. Yeah, dude, I agree. I think that's absolutely on the table. And he's going to get some effort sacks too. He's going to run some dudes down. Like he's going to get some numbers cranked up just by the way that he plays alone. I'm not mad at that at all. I just wonder about some of the things, that have been said about Pierce. I don't go into that, but I do wonder about it. Like I like the player. Like it didn't change my grade. It's just I wonder about it for the Lions, right? I wonder about that. It's kind of the same thing with Luther Burden. I wonder about it for the Lions. Like, is that just off their board? Because I think we've seen that. They've seemingly taken dudes out of the conversation. Like we've seen that happen. So I always try to take that into account with them. Like if I had Burden versus Igbuka, I would take Burden first, but I think they would go Igbuka if they had to pick one of the two. Yeah, it's just a weird spot. I think Connerly would be super interesting. I think he could be a guard. I also think he can play tackle. He's so young right now. Playing left tackle this past season. He's not the best athlete, but he controls himself really well. He's so balanced all the time. He plays square to the line. I think he could translate, and he gets off the ball pretty well. Like you'll see, he explodes out of his stance. He could go to guard. I think Connerly would be fun at guard in time. It just may take a second. I just wish he was naturally more powerful. If he had more functional strength to his game. But I think he can get there. I think he can get there as a guard. Least coachable guy on the board is a strong character claim. If MCDC sold, I agree with that. I agree with that, man. I just kind of wait for it to happen. Josh Simmons would excite me in the first round. Absolutely. I'd be willing to move up for Josh Simmons. He's not falling here anymore, but I'd be willing to trade up for Josh Simmons. The Lions would do that. I'm not even mad at it. I won't be mad. What do we got trade wise here? We got 32. I don't know why they would move up 4 spots. I'm gonna do it just to. I kind of want to see what they'll do. Oh, they're probably gonna take Pierce. See, and that would be the hard thing because I can see the Lions actually doing that, but it's like, damn, we just gave them we just gave them James Pierce. I'm not mad taking James Pierce though. I'm gonna draft James Pierce, I think, and we'll just kind of see what happens. Let's kind of let it shake out. I'm curious about running backs this year too, because it seems like it's pretty consensus. There's gonna be 2 running backs going first round. I don't think Scatterboo will go because yeah, it's just his style. But I like Scatterboo a lot, so I'm excited to see how early he actually ends up going. So okay, we got James Pierce. Now I'd come back and get my guy right here. I get Demetrius Knight. Get a player that I really like for the locker room. Smart player, immediately going to be able to be an impact piece. That's the route I would go here. Elijah Arroyo is interesting. I just wish he had a little bit more. I don't know. Honestly, I wish he was a little more loose as a route runner. To be honest, it just didn't feel as clean to me as a pass catcher. But I thought he was a better run defender than you would think for his size. Was he 6'5", 250? I thought he was a better run blocker, man. I mean, he's going to battle. He's going to hit guys. He can drop his weight. He reminded me in some ways of Sam Laporta in that sense, where coming out, like there's a lot of questions about, oh, is he going to run block well? The Lions were like, we like him as a run blocker. You know, we think there's a lot of things to build on there. I think Elijah Arroyo could fall into a similar kind of idea. Like there's actually more to build on than what people think his run blocking is now versus what it can get to because he can bend, he could work in space, he'd run through blocks. It just kind of worked like how much can I tap into as a pass catcher? But I like Elijah Arroyo. You think either Carson or Knight make it to 60? Carson. Schwessinger? Oh yeah, linebacker, of course. Talking about 2 linebackers. Do I think they make it to 60? I'll be honest. I think Demetrius Knight has a better shot of getting there. I think in today's NFL, Demetrius Knight would have a better shot because he's an older prospect. His size, like it's something that I like, but I don't know that how many teams are going to care. You know what I mean? I think Carson just plays so fast. He takes the ball away. He's so fluid in coverage. He can play so deep in coverage too. I think he'd have a better shot of going in the top 50 than probably Demetrius Knight, to be honest. I don't know though, dude. Realistically, man, Knight could actually be on the board there. If it was my grades, he would have been gone like a long time ago. But he could be. I like the top linebackers in this class, man. You throw Jalen Walker into that, dude. I think we got some really good linebackers top. I wouldn't be mad at all if the Lions took a swing there. Because as good as like the edge rushers are, I talk about wanting to go front 7. You could walk away with a top linebacker this year, you know, before it kind of really, I think, drops off. Like once it gets like, and you see their rankings here, like the Jeffrey Bassa, dude. I'm not a fan, bro. This guy, he's a good athlete. He can't connect in coverage, that kind of thing. Like there's a drop off. I think these top few, even Chris Paul, I can understand could fall into just by his build. I'm not as big on it, but I could understand. I don't think he's that close tonight, but I could understand it. Like I wouldn't be mad at them. Maybe Paul up taking a linebacker because of what it could be. Who is that guy right after? Okay, should I just draft him? I mean, look, man, maybe we just draft him. I don't know. Maybe that's the move. Maybe see, I gotta draft him though because the gap's too long. If I don't take him now, we're cooked. You know what? We're gonna draft him. That's what we're gonna do. I also like tight end too. I think tight end's interesting because tight end's pretty good this year. Tight end would be fun. Tight end would be fun. Offensive lineman. You know, we just did that right here. Donovan Jackson's gone now, so see this is why good thing I traded up. Oh, he went early. Yo, see, I stole Donovan Jackson. He went 47. For the Lions, man, like we got a couple of tackles. Marcus Bow, I don't know would fit the Lions. I just don't know if he's built well enough. Like I said, I like Jonah. I think he's the perfect prototype for a guard. I just don't think he plays with enough edge. Wyatt Millam, I think, would be a great draft pick. I think Cameron Williams could play at guard. Charles Grant could play at guard. Bellin could play at guard. A lot of these dudes play at guard. Highly doubt we draft a running back with like Jaden Blue. Hey man, there's a connection, you know. So what? Hey, I'm like thinking too. Like every time I look at a running back, I'm like it'd be fun. But like we were doing our AFC and NFC East mock, and it took Cam Scatterboo for us. And they're like, hey, do you like that pick? I'm like, man, I love Scatterboo, but no, it doesn't make any sense. Like that is one position where it's like, bro, if you do that in the top 3 rounds, I'm confused. I mean, I'm here for it because it'd be crazy, but I'd be just confused. I would not know what the heck we're doing. I have no idea. Okay. All right, so we dropped that in. Do we take Chris Paul? Do we just, mix it up a little bit? I think we do. I think we could. Let's do that. Would you consider Omar Nolan Lot? Not at 60. Not from what I've seen. Not at 60. Later maybe, but not at 60. Not yet. Not yet. That my mind changes. I'll let you know, but not yet. Let's Let's take him. Let's take Chris Paul. Wait, who do we take in the first? Yeah, we took Pierce. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. And look, I may still draft it. This is not just DT Fair. This is not the last time you'll see him. At some point, I'll have him in a mock. Okay, I got you. Especially on when we do walk the mock. I'm sure he'll be available later, so we'll be able to get him. Craig Reynolds replaced. Who knows? I don't. It could. It could. Oh, I hope not. To be honest, man, that'd be crazy, bro. That'd be crazy. Like it's one thing to do like round 6 and the dude just becomes a dog, or like one of those last picks. It's like he becomes a dog and he takes the job. Like, all right, so be it. But bro, we go we go to top 60 and take a right back. Heck no, dude. I don't know about all that. All right, this is interesting, right? Because we're getting in front of Seattle here, who needs offensive linemen. I wonder, like, if I don't use the value chart, what I could. Oh wow, they're not even interested in this. Dang. So I'd have to throw in like, what if I give them the 4th, right? Oh boy, they're not interested in nothing. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, we messed up. All right, just continue. Jalen Milroe to Seattle. That's something. RJ Harvey, Winston. There are some safeties that I like, man. I kind of feel like this draft room this time is nice. You're in the draft room this time. This is nice. Yeah, you made that pick. You're the guy that has to sell that guy to me. You got to make that pick make sense before we make that pick. You know what I mean? All I still need is a tall receiver like Pat Bryant or Bigger's late. Okay. I mean, I feel like you kind of used up your draft pick. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know that's going to happen. Okay. You know what dude, what about Torrey Horton though? Like Torrey Horton could be I think Torrey Horton could surprise. He could be one of the surprises that goes really high in this draft. I wouldn't be surprised if Torrey Horton went way higher than people expected. He's hard to get his hands on film because he played at Colorado State, but I wouldn't be surprised if Torrey Horton went pretty darn high. If we don't sign a free agent guard and don't draft one, I'd be worried. Yeah, I think they will. I mean, they're gonna do something. I don't know how aggressive, but they'll do something. I don't love the options here, to be honest. I do kind of like the idea of Cornelius. I like Cornelius. You know what I like here though? Oh yeah. Yeah. We're getting Sanker, baby. I like that. See, I like this. I like putting Sanker in here, man. I think Sanker's so fun to watch. He's so fun to watch. He was on one of our sleepers we did on Wednesday. So I'll put Sanker in there, man. We'll finish out the secondary. Look at this draft. James Pierce, Chris Pooh Paul. People don't call him that. Yo, that's weird, bro. Why? Chris Paul and Jonas Sanker. Okay. You're all in for Torrey Horton? Horton's a dog, man. I think he might surprise some people. See, now we got 130. Where did we get 130 from? Is this our pick? I feel like I'm not used to seeing 130. Yeah, where's this pick from? I don't know. It's like I could go for a receiver right now, or I could chill. He's a mid-round Tim Patrick replacement. Why not more Pat Bryant? There you go. Johnny Walker time. All right, it's coming. It's not yet because they rank him like 1,000 on here, but it's coming. Okay. You know what time it is? It's actually Curtis Rourke time. Where's my guy at? Let's just make the pick. Let's put it in. I wonder if Pigs will be someone the lines like. It'd be interesting. I feel like I need to go lineman here just because of where we're at. But it would be fun. It would be a lot of fun to add Torrey Horton. It would be. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take Cornelius. We're gonna put him in at guard. Plays right tackle. We'll put him in at right guard. Okay. And then we got 3 picks left. Hold up. Let me reset here. Let me think. Ooh, Vikings got like no draft picks. This is good. Let me think. All right. Someone said that they actually found a way to see the draft board. Do y'all know how to do that? Someone told me they figured that out. I don't remember how they did it, but someone said they figured out how to do that. What was I gonna do? I had a plan, and now I forgot my plan. I'm gonna be honest. I made that pick, forgot what I was gonna do. That's not good. It's a bad plan. This is a bad plan. I completely forgot what I had a plan when I made that draft pick. I forgot what the plan was. Oh, we're cooked. Hey, dude, I don't remember what the plan. Wait, hold up. Wait, let me reset here. Let me reset. I can figure this out. Figure this out. Um, did we resign KO? Wait, did we resign KO just now or recently? Hold up. I missed this. Look at that. Adding the guard depth back. Shout out to KO, man. I'm not even mad at that. We did? I thought Dave Burkett would have posted something. See, Dave Burkett usually has my back here, but he didn't post nothing. I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. Well, let this roll a little bit. I didn't even know that happened. Okay. I got a plan. Bear with me here. All right. Oh, Pat Bryant just went. Where's Pat Bryant ranked on here? I don't want to miss out. Pat Bryant is above Kyle Williams and above Kobe Hudson. I gotta watch Kobe Hudson. Oh yeah, we're chilling. Dude, I like Fortune too. I think Fortune would be good at safety. I think you put O'Donnell Fortune at safety, he could take the ball away. He's a sleeper. He's one of our sleepers. We did the video. So okay. I feel like we haven't had any receivers going though. Like this has been really quiet. It's making me a little nervous. Okay, there goes Kyle Williams. Oh, they just both went. All right, look, Philly don't need this. What if we did one of these numbers? No? All right, how about this? Right, we give you that. We give you a future fifth. You got to give us. I don't want to do it. 6 for a 7. Yeah, I will. Wait. Yeah. All right. There we go. Ooh. See, I like bringing stool too. I wish you caught the ball more consistently, but we're gonna go Isaac Tesla. We're gonna get our big body. He was awesome at the Senior Bowl too. I was thinking about with Gray Zabel. Like I'm a little bit lower on Gray Zabel, but he was amazing at the Senior Bowl, and I can't help but get that out of my head. Like man, he was so good at the Senior Bowl though. I think Tesla was really good at the Senior Bowl too. Big slot. We can play him wide though. Isaac Tesla is so new to it, man. Like the upside is what gets me excited. What it could become. It's not there yet, but what it could become is super exciting. All right. Johnny Walker gone by now. No, he ain't gone. I trust me, he's not gone. He'll be there by 228. Matthew, I can guarantee you he'll be there. I can't guarantee that, but he's gonna get to 200. Johnny Walker is not gone. He's gonna be he's gonna be Matthew, I need you to do a mock draft and send it to me. Please send me a mock draft on X. I need to see what that's gonna look like. I need to see a Matthew mock draft. All right, we took Elijah Clark just now, which is good. Like Elijah Clark. We're actually gonna. Johnny Walker's here. I'm pretty sure he's right here. Unless you got a nickname for someone else, he's still here, man. We're good. I took Downs last time. Come on, man. We're in a good spot. Here's our picks. This is a wild mock draft, and I'm not mad at it. Oh, are we gonna take him though? No, but honestly, this is fun. This is a good. This is all over the place. We got tight ends. There's not a lot of these tight ends late that I like on here. I'm gonna be honest with you. Man, and they plucked everybody. My goodness. Okay, they don't have like anybody listed. We drafted Malachi Starks first round. I'm calling it. I think we're gonna have to trade up to get him. We're gonna have to trade up. Let him fall though. I'm on board with that. Malachi Starks is awesome. I'm on board with that. Let that dude fall right in our lap. Okay. They were gonna go Johnny Walker, dude. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about him, but we might have to do it. Yeah. All right, bro. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? 15%. Oh, this guy. Where is Zeke Biggers on the draft list? Is he even available? Yeah, he is. I think Zeke Biggers is still available. Or maybe he just went. He must have went recently. He's ranked down here somewhere on here. Right here, 203. Number 1 guy for the Lions is Kenneth Grant. All right. Now I don't know if I want to take. You said that. I don't know if I want to take Johnny Walker anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to do it anymore. Well, okay. We got for running back. Need to watch more running backs. Ooh, Donovan Edwards. They have him as the lowest running back. I would draft Donovan Edwards. I'm not even mad at that. I'm not upset. Why is Malachi Moore so low? He is super low. I don't know. I think that's gonna update. He's just I don't know. See how they have this? They haven't updated it. They'll update it. They'll move it. Yeah. That's how it's I don't know. It's because they haven't updated certain players. Ty Robinson. I like Ty again. I wonder about his fit. I had him in one of our earlier mock drafts a couple weeks ago, probably over a month ago now. I drafted Ty Robinson to us. I don't remember what mock that was. Y'all remember? We did one. We did one with Ty Robinson. I think that was live. I think that why I did it. I think that did one live. The truth. And Mike Green. All right, Matthew. Look, man, I'm gonna get your guy, okay, Johnny Walker, because now I'm gonna have to watch him, right? And that's how we're gonna wrap this draft. So this will motivate me to make that move. Stay focused. Don't miss Johnny Robinson. Okay. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. I don't know what we're talking about. Ed, well, you kind of missed the whole show, Ed. I'm gonna be honest with you, but the first half of the show was a disaster because I was talking about a mock that wasn't on the screen, so that was not good. All right, and we just did a little fun one here, kind of talk through it a little bit. Here we go. A B plus, yo, how is this a B plus? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Johnny Walker saved the day. Hey, he saved the day, bro. This is better than the mocks that oh man. I think James Pierce cooked. We got James Pierce A plus. They give me a C minus for Hairston. That's crazy. It's crazy. They gave me an A plus for Pierce. All right. Pierce really cared. They must have this thing weighted or something. They hated all of these draft picks. Man. Well, there we go. All right. I don't know if you don't want me to break down on Beach Report about golf versus Dan Quinn defenses. Dan Quinn defenses? I have not. I have not. I have not. That feels kind of random. I don't know. Like when he was with the when was he with the Cowboys? Right? Was he with hold on, let me see. That might be an off-season topic when like nothing's happening. We reached for Paul. No, we didn't reach. We didn't reach. You wanted it. You wanted it. We did not reach. Oh, when he was with Dallas. All right, yeah. That makes sense. His numbers are like that. Those Dallas games were rough. But like the one was like 2 interceptions late in the game. Like the game was kind of over. It was it 16-24 or something? We had like 2 interceptions, 6-24. We had like 2 interceptions late. We were a mess. That was when Tom Kennedy was holding it down as wide receiver 1. And then this last year, which, I just thought he was a little over aggressive. I thought he read the field well. He's just a little over aggressive. Maybe an off-season thing. We'll do something like that. It'd be good if we play him again. It'd be a good little preview. You can definitely you doing a show on Johnny Walker? Probably not today. I'm gonna be honest with you. But at some point we may. If I feel like if I don't feel like he's a sleeper, I'm not gonna do a sleeper video. If I think he's whack, I'm not gonna be like, yo, sleeper Johnny Walker. Matthew, you might need to do the sleeper video, and then I'll watch it. That's what you need to do. You do the video, and I'll react to it. This year's Richard Dent. All right, I'm gonna look into him though. I will. Maybe he's cooking. Or I'm starting to hate Johnny Walker all of a sudden. He might be a dog. I don't know. He might be amazing though. I don't want to hate though. All right. Yeah. Well. What was I looking up? So we have. All right. Top 30s. So the top 30 visits were. Oh goodness. Chaz Chambliss. Lan Larison. All right. So we're looking at UDFAs here. Gray Zabel. Josiah Stewart. Hey, we took Josiah Stewart. And Ruben Hippolyte. I don't know who that is. A lot of UDFAs probably. And then we had a lot of formal meetings at the combine. Savion Jones, Mike Green, Jack Sawyer, Nick Scorton, Pooh Paul, Jalen McLeod, Corey Lindenberg, Kobe King, one of the later linebackers, Colin Oliver, who we did draft. That's interesting, man. This is the first guy I watched was Colin Oliver, and they brought him in and they met with him. That's interesting. Jahad Campbell, Howard Cross, Notre Dame, Kenneth Grant, Jonas Sanker. All right, we just drafted him. Makuba, Thomas Fadone, had him in one of our mocks. Jackson Hawes, that's a big run blocker. CJ Dupree, I like CJ Dupree a lot. He was also at the Senior Bowl. Uh-oh. Oh, Donald Fortune. I didn't even know he did that. I didn't know he did that. That's fantastic. All right, I'm on board with that. Kobe Bryant, Darian Porter, Azare Thomas, Quincy Riley, also Senior Bowl. Eric A. Manor, Pat Bryant, Jalen Milrow, Brew McCoy, Jonah Savania, Eli Cox, Donovan Jackson, Charles Grant from William & Mary, and Emory Jones. Hey, these are a lot of guys we talked about. Not all of them. We talked about a lot of these. Local Pro Day attendees. I don't know any of these guys, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't know these. Maybe I've read Pro Day meetings. There's a lot of these. Dang. Yeah, I might have to go through some of these dudes. Is someone I'm hoping we draft. You just read over that Pooh Paul a little bit too smoothly. I think they like him for real. All right. You know what, man? I'm gonna revisit Pooh Paul, man. I'm gonna do a Pooh Paul video. That'll be my next linebacker video is Chris Paul. I'm gonna cook him too. He's gonna have my worst grade. Pistons beating the Cavs today. That's good, man. That's good. I'm not a Cavs fan. That's good. Hope they cook the Cavs. Did they already played? Oh no, they didn't already play, but you're saying they're going to. No, I hope they do, man. I hope they do. I hope they destroy the Cavs, man. Pistons getting into the playoffs. Excited for that. It'll be good. My team's not getting into the playoffs. Well, the Wizards are not getting into the playoffs. I'm not optimistic at 16 wins that we're gonna get in. Please figure out where his nickname comes from. All right. I feel like you made it up though. That's the problem. Like if you don't know where it came from, how am I supposed to know? Okay. Oh, damn. I'm gonna look it up real quick. It is nickname. It probably won't show up because you probably looked this up already. Not CP3. Oh goodness. Pooh. Chris Pooh Paw. Pooh originated from his parents, who also shared the nickname, and became more prominent when his mother made custom jackets and 3D cutout with his face and the nickname after he caught an interception to win a game. So his parents shared the nickname Pooh. All right. I don't know if I understand this one. Oh, Pooh is a family nickname. It was his mother, Gloria, called him Pooh. Okay, so they just called him Pooh. So instead of like, hey, buddy, they just called him Pooh. They called each other Pooh, though. They were all, everybody in the house was Pooh. That's what everybody is. Everybody's Pooh. Hey, Pooh, it's time for dinner. That's what it was. I feel like that's not a great backstory, but like everybody kind of has that. Who's your NBA team? The Wizards, Lord help. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm also, pulling for the Warriors too. So that's actually going to work. We're actually going to get into the playoffs. So we got, I got money on the Warriors too when the chip this year. Look, man, the Wizards, we're gonna get our guy out of Duke. All right, we're gonna plug him in, and we're gonna be in a good spot. That's what that is. All right, we're just gonna plug him in. We're gonna be in a really good spot, like Howard Cosell, Dosa Cosell. There you go. That's well, can't call somebody Poo Paw. It sounds a little strange, but if Mama called Poo Paw, I'm gonna call Poo Paw. All right. Hey, I'm with it. We drafted. We gotta call him Pooh. That's good. We can do that. We could do that. All right, that's I got to get locked in on Pooh Paw. Also, this mock draft. Y'all need to lock in on this mock draft, man. Watch these players come back. Tell me what you think of this one, because I actually think obviously I'm a James Pierce guy. Chris Paul, I'm going to do my research there. Jonas Sanker, I have notes on him. I like Jonas Sanker a lot. Cornelius, I think is going to be he can go to guard. He'll be better at guard than tackle. Isaac Tesla is sneaky. Keep an eye on Isaac Tesla, man. This guy just needs development. It's a perfect spot for us here, though. He's like 6'1". He's like 200 pounds, man. Played in the slot a lot. Do I have? Oop. Is there really a good cover linebacker? Who's really? Is there a better one in the draft? Yeah, I think Demetrius Knight and Carson Sweshing are better coverage backers. But Pooh does a nice job because he does stay connected with routes better. I mean, so if you're looking like just true man coverage, I think hear where you're coming from. He's also built a little bit longer too. I think a 3-year deal. Why do they keep posting that? Okay, I don't have my. Should be over here somewhere. Maybe it's not. I don't know. All right. Thought I had it. Ease it down. It's close to Loveland. Yeah, I gotta sort these out. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put these in my binder. That way I can sort these out like I had it last year. That's what we need to do. That'll be next step. Next step. I think what's gonna happen too, because I have so many of these, I'm just gonna start putting them on the chart, and then instead of like even like doing videos on all these guys, just have the chart so that we can just look at it, just to make it easier. And I'll just start putting the grades on there without even having a video, because everybody on the chart actually has a video, but I think we're just gonna start putting the grades on there. I agree. Keep Hendon Hooker around. Ashton Gillette, yes, I will check him out as well. He was next up for me, so we're gonna do that. When are you doing creators mocks? I don't know. I honestly don't know. We did AFC East, NFC East yesterday with 3 of us. Thursday we're doing NFC North, but the guys that are doing the North aren't the NFC North guys. So I'm assuming the next time we get on roundtable, we'll do it with those 4. It'll be Vikings, Packers, Bears. We'll all have our team. We'll do our mock draft. But I want to set up like a large one. I know last year we did one for PFF. We'll try to get, hopefully we'll do another one like that this year. But as soon as April starts, man, I'm going to be reaching out, trying to make those things happen. That's why right now I'm trying to build kind of a foundation of players. That way I have like insight on most guys. And then we'll go from there. But we're definitely going to have a lot of those. That's the goal. I'm going to have a lot of those this year. A lot of types of mock drafts. I feel like we've already hit the ground kind of running, but we're going to have a lot with other creators and stuff. Because now we have connections with a whole bunch of people. So I'm fired up. It's stunning where you are. It was earlier today. It's chilled though now. It's chilled though now. Hey, anyways, I appreciate y'all joining though. I think I'm gonna end it here. JT Tuimoloau video is up, and I don't know, probably either Chris Paul or Ashton Gillette, something like that will be the next one, and then we'll go from there. Also, rankings. I want to say this. I plan to do rankings soon too. Where it's not just one player, but like 5 or something. Like, so I was going to go like offensive guard, top 5 guards or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe a guard per round, something like that. I'm going to start doing rankings. That way I can get more players into one and just show like the final grades I have for each player. So like I'm pretty much ready to do my interior offensive line one. Maybe we'll go like top 10 and I'll throw like 10 on there and we'll do that ranking. That might be one of our next videos too. Try to get something like that out this weekend, maybe. Kobe Bryant? Yeah, Kobe Bryant. Got to watch. I haven't watched him at all. I've seen none of him, so I need to do that. Should the Lions grab Tennessee running back Caleb Johnson? I wasn't as high on Caleb Johnson. Like, I don't think he's a bad player. I just wouldn't draft him because of where we're at. If we're gonna take a running back, go crazy, I'm taking Cam Scatterboo. I'm taking Marshawn Lynch Jr. That's what I'm doing. If I'm doing, I'm going crazy. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, look out for rankings, all right? And then we'll just see how those go, and then we'll continue whatever works. Johnny Walker. Yes, Johnny Walker. We better get some kind of he's got to be in something. He's got to be in something, all right, before we're all said and done. But I think offensive line, bro, we might go like a 10-piece, dog. We might go like a 10-piece. Zeke Biggers, end of the draft DL target, or just a great name. It's a great name. It's a great name, but it's a good starting point. You got to have a great name to get your name out there. Well, what? I didn't say something crazy. He was my running back too. People love Hampton. Cam Scatterboo is my running back too. And I'm sticking to that. That's running back 2 right there. He won't go 2, but he is running back 2. So I'm riding with that wave. We're gonna take somebody. Take that dude. Scatterboo to Montgomery. All right, that's cool with me. Montgomery's a dog too. That'd be running back 2. I don't know what his class looked like when he came out. He went like round 3 or something. So if you got that guy, it's pretty good. He's a little bit of a mix of both. Like a little bit of both. Scatterboo's a dog, bro. All right, we out of here. I appreciate y'all joining, and I will see you guys soon with either a ranking or something. Ranking, breakdown. Well, of course, keep doing breakdowns. Probably a ranking, probably positional ranking. Also, let me know if y'all want to see positional rankings live, because that's something that we could do live. I could show like 10 players live and just kind of run through the slides and rank them. You know what? We might do that live. I'm thinking about that. Position rankings live. Maybe the single players are still pre-recorded, and then we could do some pre-recorded mocks too. Maybe we'll do position rankings live. I think that's the move. That's all right. Stay tuned for that. When I do like guards or whatever, I'm going to rank them. I'll put them up on like graphics, and we'll do that. We'll do that live. That'll be next. All right. All right. Cool. All right. We're out. Enjoy your night, and I will see you guys soon. Happy Friday. If you're just joining now, feel free to roll back, but roll like 20 minutes in because you missed the mock draft. You missed the mock draft. I mean, I don't know. I showed the wrong one on the screen, but it's all right. It worked out. Also, Bleacher Report. you want to see 2 more episodes this week, I had a sleeper video. It's on Bleach Report if you have the app from Wednesday. And then Monday, I did something else on Monday, but I don't remember what it was. But it's on there. I don't remember what it was, though. But they're up there. All right, we out.